after living a life where they have generally been on the go and have been a human doing, someone can have the need to just be, to spend more time relaxing and embracing life, and to no longer be on this treadmill of doing. And this can mean that they have spent a lot of time working, trying to achieve things, trying to be more successful. And perhaps even when they have been on holiday, they've often been in doing mode and been thinking about what they should have done and what they will be doing once they get back home or once they are working again. And although part of them will have this need to settle down and to change their lifestyle, another part of them can have the need to carry on living in the same way. And so they will be experiencing inner conflict. And perhaps in the past, when they have thought about changing their life, this other part of them would have been so strong that they were unable to take the next step. But now the part of them that wants to live a more laid-back life will be stronger. It will no longer be dominated or out-muscled and suppressed by the other part of them. And at this point they could struggle to understand why they find it so hard to relax. And if they were to sit with how they feel for a little while, they may feel frustrated and agitated at first, perhaps even angry and feel the need to do something. But as time goes by, they may end up feeling a sense of rejection and abandonment, and they may even come into contact with a lot of shame. And what they may find is that if they are not always working and not always doing things, they can find that they believe that they will no longer be accepted and loved by others. And so no longer being this human doing can be seen as something that will cause them to be cast aside. Because through living in this way, they might be used to receiving a lot of feedback by others. And if they live in a society that is all about doing, so it's all about the masculine energy, and is not overly concerned with the being and the feminine aspect, they're not going to be short of approval from others. Lots of people can believe that they are living in the right way. And so it could be said there's not a surprise that it will be a challenge for them to settle down. But when it comes down to why they would feel as though they would no longer be accepted and loved, this can be due to what took place during their early years. And this may have been a stage of their life when they were given conditional love. But this doesn't mean that it was actually love. And so as long as they did what their caregiver or their caregivers wanted, they may have received attention, approval, and acceptance. And even when they did do this, they still may have been cast aside and ignored and isolated. But if they didn't behave in this way, if they didn't please their caregiver or their caregivers, they may have been cast aside. So it would have been as though as long as they did what they wanted, they existed. But if they didn't, it would have been as though they didn't exist. And love would have been taken away. All the love that was available. So this would have stopped them from realizing that they are inherently lovable and that they have inherent worth. They would have come to believe that their worth and their lovability depends on what they do, not on who they are. And so naturally, now that they are an adult and they want to change their behavior, it is going to cause them to come into contact with a lot of tension and pain. But the truth is, of course, that they are inherently lovable and valuable. And when it comes down to why they were not given unconditional love, this is likely to be because their caregiver or their caregivers couldn't give it to them. So it was then not that they chose not to give them unconditional love, it is that they couldn't give it to them. And most likely their parent or their parents were also brought up by someone or two people who were unable to give them unconditional love. And so they passed on the experience that they had unconsciously to their child and perhaps their children. And so this will be an example of how things get passed on from one generation to the next. And so if you can relate to this, you can see that you find it hard to just be, and you feel that you will no longer be loved and seen as valuable, then you are likely to have a lot of unmet childhood needs to grieve, so pain to feel and to process, and beliefs and associations to question, so that you are able to settle down, so that you are able to just be and to know that you will be loved and accepted, and perhaps some people may leave your life, but new people will enter. So if you can relate to this, please reach out for the assistance that you need to gradually change your life. If you would like to find out more about the services that I offer, please go to www.oliverjrcooper.co.uk or email me at info@oliverjrcooper.co.uk, and I'm looking forward to assisting you on your journey.